Okay, folks, here we go with part 2 of our extravaganza here. And, Dwayne, I found out
Yep.
what I was looking for.
Good.
Public service announcement, ladies and gentlemen. I have gotten calls in the past from the American Police Officers Alliance.
I think I have too on more than one occasion.
I got them yesterday. I called them a name and hung up on them. That doesn't seem it. I feel good doing that, but it doesn't seem to do any good. So anyway, I went upstairs to the computer. American Police Officers Alliance. I got a couple of different articles. They robocall and spoof their phone number. And when I answered the phone, it was like 79KZ, exclamation point, 23, M59. You know what I'm trying to say. They spoof their phone numbers and send out invoices to anybody that they can get on the line. When they get through, I just need to verify your home address, please, your mailing address, and they send them invoices.
Yeah, for
Donation, $50 or
well,
something.
there's a certain percentage.
Yep.
If you send out 1,000 and two of them send it back, you're out about you got $100. And if you do that with 100,000 and 100,000 and a million, you got a lot of money.
Yeah. No money, continuing this letter, no money given them will ever go to police officers. If you are contacted by them, contact the FBI Scam and Safety page and complain. And this was, typed up and listed by station KSST, Sulphur Springs, Hopkins County, Texas.
Yep.
So they are doing a good job by putting something like that on the internet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. If you want to throw a few bucks the way of the Norfolk Police Association, those guys do a good job helping people out. I know a lot of them would probably dig into their own pockets if it weren't for the association when they have to help some people. So if you feel that way, give to the Norfolk Police Association. It'll go to the right place. It'll end up in the hands of people in Norfolk that are needy. The other thing I wanted, well, maybe we'll go back to this here in a second, but I wrote this little blurb I wanted to read. The panorama of the street violence in New York City, with youthful gangs terrorizing older people, robbing them, injuring them, is a scary sight. But what is far worse, the words of the progressive left. We've got to get to these youngsters and work with them on their anger issues and getting them the help they so desperately need. However, not one word is said about the victims lying on the sidewalks, bleeding with serious injuries. Not one word is said about them, and nothing is ever said about catching and prosecuting and punishing these rotten little cowards. The left wails in despair. But they're only children. Wrong. They're vicious sociopaths and must be stopped. If you're assaulted, beaten, robbed, and die, their age does not matter.
Don't make a difference.
No. Whether they're 12 or 46, you're still dead. You're just as dead from a 13-year-old. But they are only children. We hear that. We can't imprison them. It will ruin their future, destroy their dreams. We must help them. BS, says I. Or must we wait for vigilantes to form and take back our streets one at a time.
Tough guy.
That's it.
That's right.
You know, I don't go to Boston and shiver and fear and look over my shoulders, but I'm aware of my surroundings.
Yeah, that's a good point. I used to preach to my wife about be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, absolutely. And women are so vulnerable with their pocketbooks.
Yeah.
I mean, so easy for these thugs to come up and just whammo, yank it out of their arms and be off with them, and probably knock them over at the same time. But yet, it is never, let's get those little SOBs off the street, let's get them in reform school where they belong. It's never that. It's let's get them the help.
We have too many social workers.
That's right.
Or social
Way
workers.
too many.
But you know what? We don't punish.
No.
Particularly Massachusetts. Well, there's other
Oh, I
states
know.
too, but Massachusetts is really big on no punishment.
Yep. Oklahoma's a little different, and so is in Arkansas.
So some of the other states
Yeah.
are a lot different. There was an article here the other day. Masked man pleads guilty to pandemic relief fraud. A Massachusetts man recently fraudulently obtained $1.2 million from the COVID-19 relief funds. Now, that's our money. That's your money, Bill's money, my money. That James Joseph Cohen, 59 of Wenham. He submitted these false applications over and over and over and came up with $1.2 million. And he got caught, obviously. What do you think he got?
Well, he had to return the 1.2 mil, and
You can just about stop there.
okay,
He had to make restitution, and he got a few months of probation.
and the probation officer said, "Stay out of trouble,
Yeah.
and I will see you in 6 months when I kiss you goodbye."
If you don't kill somebody in the meantime,
Yeah.
we'll forget about
Yeah.
it. Just give the money back.
That's right.
So what is the deterrent for
There
anybody else to
is
try
none.
it? I mean, you might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, maybe it's cost him 20 grand for a lawyer to get him out of
Yeah,
it.
but you might as well give him a shot. If you make it,
Yeah.
hell, you're an easy street. If you
you-
don't, you just got to give it back.
Do you know what we had before computers? Back, let's say the 60s or the 70s. We had a spate of, well, it wasn't a spate at first, it was kind of rare, but we had a guy that was sending invoices to small companies, or large companies for that matter. And it would be something very nebulous,
Yeah.
like repair of certain items damaged by the rain, or something to do with landscaping, cleaned up the branches, or service rendered to your plumbing department or something. And it would be for $81.84. 68 bucks, or never any big amounts. He'd send them out by the reams.
Yep.
20, 30, 40% of them, we'd get the check.
Yeah. Oh, I saw an article about that same thing. This guy was, I don't know what he did, but he sent out a lot of invoices. He wasn't putting $80. He was putting something $2.12 or something added on to it every month. But people, they wouldn't even look at it.
Yeah.
They just pay it.
You know, you got some clerk in accounts payable. This baby lands on her desk, and she said, "Well, I don't have a name in the maintenance department to call."
Yeah.
And this was 6 weeks ago. Ah, boy.
Just pay
60
it.
bucks, pay it. Boom.
Do you go through your credit card statements?
Suzanne does.
Okay. I look at them. I get it. I go down it. CVS, Stop and Shop, X number of liquor stores, Stop and Shop, CVS stores. They look like ours.
Yeah,
I don't know if the amounts or not. I'm not about to go check it.
I can tell you this. At the Crane household, the statements come from the credit card companies. I know enough to stay close to
okay.
hand. Billy,
Yeah, what'd you do here?
XYZ Associates, $29.95. What's that? Oh, it's a magazine subscription for. Oh, all right. George Martin, $19.20. Yeah, that's for a report on something. I don't know. You know, but it goes on and on
She
like
does
that.
question you. So,
Yeah.
I do what she's doing, but I don't quite. If I don't recognize something, then I'll ask her check it. But if it's something that we normally do,
Yeah, yeah. Like she never asks me about Walgreens.
yeah,
or
because I don't know the
Roche
the
Brothers
amounts.
or whatever. Yeah, but if it's something she has never seen before, or because now it used to be that you'd write out a check to World War II magazine. Well, you don't do that anymore. You write it out to Collier Enterprises.
I did
They do that.
There was one
for
with
all kinds of magazines.
Triborough or something in Attleboro.
Yeah,
I said we haven't bought anything at Triborough, and it's a new billing for the Sun Chronicle.
the Sun Chronicle. Yeah. So, but she checks every single line item, and you'd be surprised. Every once in a while, something pops up and says, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because even
Yeah.
the statements show up.
Going back to the things that we stand for here on the show. So some state police officers have been forcibly retired because they will not take the COVID-19 shot.
Yeah.
So the state police are canceling their pistol permits. Now, this almost seems like punishment. Because under the new guidelines, we are now a will carry state.
Yeah.
A will issue. So this guy's just going to have to make out an application to get another gun permit, and they have no choice but to issue it. But because he's not a state police officer anymore, he doesn't need the gun permit, is what they're saying. That's what the rule used to be. You used to have to justify.
Yeah, you had to have a reason.
Yeah, you had to have a reason.
And particularly in the fact that it was, it was done on local.
Yeah.
Everybody had a different set of values.
Everybody had a different police chief. So I thought this was punitive, to be honest with you.
Well,
Punitive punishment.
it is kind of.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I am, I don't want to say conformist, but if the rules or what says to be a state trooper you must get vaccinated, that's it. If you don't like it, you can leave.
That's right.
Just like the military says. I don't know why. You remember when we got in the Army?
Mm-hmm.
They lined us up and gave us shots for everything from mouse fever to God knows what, dingy,
and the only explanation I got, the only thing they said is don't clench up your arm, otherwise the stupid thing will rip you apart.
Yeah. I know it, and it would too.
Yeah.
But they didn't ask if we wanted it.
No.
They gave it to us.
That's right.
And we didn't say, no, I don't want to take one for...
Oh, yeah, that would have gone over big.
Yeah, I don't believe in shots. Yeah, hell, too. You get in line. You shut up.
Shut up. You get a shot in the ass.
But now, they were fooling with them and fooling. I don't want to take this. I don't want that. Then don't get in the Army. Just leave.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So anyway, we'll put this under no action. kudos to Michelle Wu for rejecting cuts to police budget.
Yeah, I was pleased to see that she said that was foolish to do that.
You know, she did it though prior to the election.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a little two-faced business going on here.
But she didn't fall to the pressure to.
Well, she advocated it in her running up to the election.
Yeah, she did, but she also said that she had second thoughts about it and saw that it was wrong.
Well, that's easy. I've had second thoughts about things too.
Second thoughts about almost everything. But
So anyway, I was going to say, do we support her? We're not going to overlook this flip flop. We will overlook the flip flop
I don't have a trouble with flip flops as such.
if it's. Yeah, I have seen the light
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
experience. Yeah.
I didn't know what I know now, or if things have changed, and I now look the other. I look at the other way. What I don't like is if you don't change simply because you're stubborn or bullheaded, whatever it is, or you flip every day, whatever there's a
Whichever way the wind is blowing.
to my advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The local NAACP leader urges the hub to halt super search for the new superintendent of schools for Boston. Now, her point is this. The search produced 34 applicants. The search committee voted to select 4 finalists.
Okay.
Now, I'm sure these were not chosen on ability. The 4 finalists, one was black, one was Latinx, whatever the hell Latinx
I
is
have no
now.
idea anymore.
One was Asian American, and one was white. The candidates who were black and Latinx withdrew shortly before the start of public interviews. So you had left the white guy or the white lady
Okay.
and the Asian American. Her point, while I share your disappointment that our search did not result in a more racially diverse group of public interviews, I stand by this process. Robinson responded to Sullivan. I am confident both candidates have the necessary qualifications and are uniquely positioned to lead our district forward. Now, it ended up with 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
4 totally different ones. 2 of them chose to not go through the televised interview process. So
Okay.
it left 2.
Yeah.
How is that? Now, she said, with only 2 finalists, there's not enough diversity. We've got to stop and add another 10 or 12 people to it and then sort through them so we have a truly diverse group. We had a diverse group.
If 2 of them dropped out,
Yeah.
they dropped out.
They dropped out.
You could get 2 more, and they might drop out, and then they drop out.
This could go on
You
forever
keep sifting and sifting and sifting, and you never get any place.
until finally get something that pleases her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is madness.
Oh, yeah. Anytime-
Absolute
I get
madness.
real suspicious anytime the candidates are identified by color.
That's right.
If you got to identify that candidate by color, that means that you are putting an access on a point that has no bearing on that job whatsoever.
Nothing to do with their qualifications
Nope.
at all.
Nothing. Don't tell me that the kids can't relate. If this is for a superintendent,
Yep.
kids don't see the superintendent.
No. He's off in an ivory tower.
They don't know who the superintendent is
Or care.
or care. That's right. So don't tell me this crap about, well, they can't relate to this person.
You know, the other thing, too, I understand this NAACP leader. I understand
Well, of course,
totally where she's
their,
coming from.
Their existence is to forward
the black agenda.
Yeah.
And to make
National Association for
make
the Advancement of
inroads
Colored People.
to make things
That's right.
right after years of never being invited
Mm-hmm.
to the table. We're at the table
That's
now,
right.
and we're making noise. Well, that's the job of an advocate, and I salute her for
And
it.
that's what they are. They're
Yeah.
advocates.
But she's all wet.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, so we've taken care of her.
Yeah. Teach them not to mess with us.
That's right. Now,
Are we going to win
Pope-
an Emmy for this?
I think so. Yeah.
think so,
I'm-
too.
we're breaking new ground.
Oh.
So, the Pope, this is just a little cut up article of a much longer article.
I do that too. Just the part I'm interested in.
Yeah, well, that's what they did in the pilot, you know. They just got
Okay.
the. Discarding the elderly is a betrayal of humanity, Pope Francis said. People have a responsibility to care for the elderly and cherish their wisdom rather than regard them as a burden on society, Pope Francis said. Instead of learning from older generations, those who ascribe to the throwaway culture prevalent in today's world seek to erase the elderly. The Pope said June 15th at his weekly general audience in St. Peter's Square. This is betrayal of one's humanity. This is the ugliest thing. This is selecting life according to one's usefulness, according to one's youth, and not with life as it is, with the wisdom of the elderly, with the limitations of the elderly, the 85-year-old Pope said. Elderly people have so much to give because there is wisdom of life.
Yeah. I think probably the biggest mistreated, skipped over group is the elderly.
Oh, absolutely.
We can just be shifted into a corner. What? Get out of
Shuffle
the way.
off the buffalo.
Get out of the way. Don't
If you
say
don't
anything.
like it, die.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The state,
And the irony of it is that the ones that are shifting us off are going to be the elderly.
of course, but they're not now.
They don't think about
No.
that.
And, you know, we are the most neglected group in Norfolk.
And we're not just saying we're not whining just because we're old.
We're whining.
We are whining.
We are
but
whining.
we old people can whine. You know, that's not against the law. In fact, I think we have a whine gene in us that doesn't come up to the surface until we get about 65. then it starts to show.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. You know what is interesting, though,
What's that?
is I'll be talking and to someone I haven't seen for a long time. So, what are you doing to keep busy? I say I spend a lot of time working with the elderly. I'm elderly,
Used to
but I don't regard myself as such.
My mother was very active. In fact, she got awarded the Senior Citizen of the Year for the state of Wisconsin.
Wow.
She was on all these state boards and all this stuff for an advocate for the elderly. And she used to say that she was too busy to do anything because, and she was about 85, 87 then. I got to go to the senior because I got to feed the old people.
Yeah.
You're feeding a lot of people that are a lot younger than you are.
Do you
But
know
she
that
didn't think of that way.
You know the surrounding towns, because of the pandemic, started feeding the elderly?
Mhm.
Free.
Yeah.
Making up bags of food. Up to the YMCA in Franklin on Wednesdays. They have 100, 150 bags of food. People come in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you need a big bag or a little bag? Do you want one bag or two bags? There's tuna fish in there. There's cereal in there. There's bread, cheese, all kinds of canned stuff. They get it from the food bank in Boston. Rentham, not Rentham, Walpole and Foxborough do the same thing. The town workers distribute the food.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything like that in Norfolk?
No. No.
Oh,
I went back to.
That's a puzzle, huh? Maybe we ought to look into that and see if we can figure out how come we don't
Well,
qualify here.
I don't see the town doing a whole lot for seniors in this town,
No, I know it.
or the state. There's not.
I mean, it's pathetic, is what it is. And
No, I don't know that they would. They would never consider. The state I came from takes the lottery money, the profit for the lottery money, gets given back as money to seniors over a certain age that pay real estate taxes to offset their real estate tax, to help that they don't lose their home or something to the tax. Can you imagine the state of Massachusetts taking the lottery money, sending it back to seniors to pay their?
that goes in politicians' pockets,
That's
buddy.
right.
That's our money.
That's sacrilegious to say something like that in this state.
It is. It really, truly is. And you know, maybe we're just going to have to dig into that some more. But we do have a tax relief program.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We got
And if
that.
you work a certain amount of hours, you get some money taken off your taxes. So,
And we've got
so
the.
tell me who that benefits.
Yeah.
It benefits the recently retired, the young ones,
The younger ones
that can work at the library,
Exactly.
or that can work at the school, or can work someplace.
Yeah.
But the old, the shut-ins, the crippled,
No.
screw them.
They're trying to make their tax bill every quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee, no tax relief for them.
Nope.
It's not right.
No, I would be an advocate of, once you hit 70 or 75 or something, you don't pay real estate tax anymore.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you're done.
All of our kids have gone to school.
Yeah,
Why
we
should we
paid for that
pay
over
for a brand new
many
school?
times. We've paid
Yeah.
for that thing already.
That's interesting too, you know. Oh, we're going to build a new school for the kids. Well, you just ripped down a perfectly good
That's
one
right.
over on Boardman Street.
Yep.
Oh, but it didn't meet code.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's
Bring
put
it
up
up
a
to code
$42
then.
million one that will,
Yeah.
instead of spending $1 million to make it up to code.
That's right. But
Penny wise and pound
foolish. Well, these
But
people.
but they did make good use, however, of the area over there where the school stood. They planted grass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's real benefit there. Arizona has continued to work on doing more for school children. Arizona is the first state to create a education savings program, but only some students can apply, such as those with disabilities, low-performing schools, or who reside on an Indian reservation. But a new bill has been introduced, making more than 1 million K-12 students, K through 12, eligible for more than $6,000 for education expenses, including private school tuition and curricular materials. So you can send your kids to target schools. This gives people whose kids are trapped in poor performing school districts an out. You know, I think the real future of this country is in charter schools.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the pushback you get from charter schools, you got to remember where that's coming from. Teachers union. They're not unionized.
That's right.
So therefore, in the teachers union eyes, they're no good. Period.
And Biden refuses to discuss it.
Yep.
But if one of the teachers' kids was in a non-performing school,
Well, they wouldn't be there very long.
no, they'd be yanked out
Yeah.
quick enough.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Seems to me that that's one of the ways we can get out of the hole as far as non-performing schools are concerned.
I had.
Well,
Go ahead.
do you recall,
Not much.
not like it was last year,
Yeah.
we had the young fellow that was making out with the horse?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do recall that.
Well, guess what we have now in Norfolk?
Oh boy.
California
Oh.
man indicted, accused of filming a girl
Oh, yeah.
11
Yeah, I did see that.
changing in her Norfolk home. What is going on in our sleepy little town?
I don't know.
Is this Sodom and Gomorrah?
I guess.
Wow. This guy had little cameras on the toes of his shoes.
I actually think that was going to work. I mean, come on, man. You think you're James Bond or something?
I don't know, but I missed. What is the point behind all of this?
Bill,
I guess you have to be a pervert, another pervert, to explain what a pervert is doing.
Yep. I don't understand it.
No.
It's-
But anyway, here we are in sleepy little Norfolk,
Yep.
and all hell is breaking loose. We're not in favor of it.
No, we'll pass on that one.
Yeah, well,
Shoe cameras should be out.
we'll condemn 2 cameras. Some good news from the court. New York City's non-citizen voting law is struck down.
Okay.
State Supreme Court Justice R.J. Pozzio said in his ruling that the New York State Constitution grants voting rights to citizens who meet age and residency requirements, not non-citizens.
That's right.
Can you imagine the people in New York voting for nonsense like this?
Haven't spent time in New York. Nothing would surprise me.
Nothing. My grandfather always told me nothing good came out of New York. I
It's
guess
probably
that's
true.
probably what he was talking about. Okay, well, we're getting one of the good ones here now.
Okay.
Congress passes gun control bill. What do you have to say about that, sir?
Well, what I understood of it was, we're going back to the police chief can't say no simply because he doesn't like you or he doesn't want any permits in his city or his
Correct.
town. I didn't see anything wrong with that because I don't like certain controls done on local issues. It doesn't matter whether it be guns or anything else, but in this state it kind of irritates me, and I don't know why, but I've never heard of a state that says how many liquor licenses a town can have. What the hell business is that of Boston's?
We got to understand that we sprouted from the blue laws,
Yeah,
from the
that's true.
Puritans, and we've never. There's a certain strain in our DNA
that we can't get rid of.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
The Senate, the House, passed this bill.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put it in perspective. It requires that background checks cover the juvenile and mental health records of gun purchases under the age of 21. Whoop. Major League whoop.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is just strictly common sense.
yeah. If it didn't before, it should have.
It shouldn't offend anyone
No, of course not.
except the far, far left
Yeah.
that speaks about medical privacy.
Yeah. That's the problem. You get into that.
Yeah, that's the only bunch that. The bill would also encourage states to enact extreme risk protection orders known as red flag
flag, yeah.
laws to allow courts to order guns to be temporarily removed from people deemed dangerous. Now, this is not a very in-depth description of the red flag law. You've got to go to court and be prepared to prove
Yeah.
that there is extreme risk here. This can't be, at least the way the bill is written, it can't degenerate into he said, she said,
Yeah. And
because it can only be used in one direction. The female who says, you're the guy with the gun, I'm alleging you threatened me with it, and you told me you'd put 3 holes, one in each side of my head. Well, he has no recourse to this. He can't rebut and say, well, you threatened me, or blah, blah, blah. So it's got to come into a court and be adjudicated and proven. Because it can't be, she said this, he said that. And I don't see how you can possibly make a judgment based on, as long as they're both fairly rational. Because there's a real danger here. If we have a liberal judge sitting over in Rentham,
Yeah.
who's known as Mr. Liberal,
Yeah. Okay.
and you flock over there with red flags, and he's going to start approved, 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 approved. If it's done properly, and if there's rights of appeal, and there's actually, this bill is written correctly, I don't see what the big problem with this is.
No.
It's only if it's abused.
Yeah. Another thing about the area they keep talking about that I agree, but I can't see how it's going to work, is that every time something happens, where they should have known because this, and this was being posted on the internet. Now we've got 330 million people in this country, of which God only knows 1 million are posting.
Yeah, no, way more than
By
that.
more, I mean 1 million, 100 million.
Yeah,
A third of them probably posting something.
yeah.
Who in the hell's going to read every posting out there to look
And
for
not
'em?
only that, they're not posting one thing a day. They're
No, they're
posting
posting-
8, 10, 15 things a day.
There's so much you can't possibly monitor this. You'd have to have millions and millions of people hired just to, and then you couldn't handle
would
it.
have computer programs to check computer programs.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
And therein lies a problem,
Yeah,
because they're not perfect.
No, a
These
lot of rhythms are-
algorithms.
the algorithm.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't really work. They work,
No,
but they work
they
to a
work,
certain
but they
point.
don't work well.
Yeah.
So you're right. Yeah, it's again, it's words.
Yeah.
Well,
it's because they don't. They're. The genie is out of the bottle on this problem, And nobody has got a real solution of how to put the genie back. If the genie can be put back, we're not even sure it can be.
No, genie's not going back in the
Yeah.
bottle. Nope. It would impose new criminal penalties on straw purchases or buying a gun for someone not permitted to and gun trafficking. Now,
That's common sense.
Dwayne,
But
we have Dorchester man charged in weekend Roxbury shooting.
yep,
In today's paper, Jason Meeks was charged Tuesday with being a felon. What's going on out there?
no, nothing. I was just checking here.
Was Thelma
No,
storming
no,
the
no,
place?
wait,
there? By the way, speedy recovery to Thelma and our best wishes. She was hospitalized briefly with pneumonia here,
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
but she's back home again.
Good.
So get back on your feet, Thelma. And by the way, Jack Daniels is good for pneumonia.
Yep,
Taken liberally.
ginger ale. Jack and ginger.
Jack and Ginger. So Jason Meeks was charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm and illegal possession of a firearm. His fourth such offense. Fourth. Now that's one more than three.
Was that Mr. Meeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got him right here.
Yep.
And
So
another-
he's previously spent 15 years behind bars for manslaughter. Charged in connection with the second and is the alleged victim of the third in a string of shootings. Now,
what question begs to be answered there?
yes,
Why the hell's he still on the street?
because we're more concerned about rehabilitating him
Than
than
punishment.
we are in punishing him
Or protecting the innocent.
or protecting
That's
the
right.
innocent. Now, I read this because, okay, of one reason. This great gun control bill that Biden is bragging about. Tell me what it would have done about this.
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Meeks would, if he hadn't got caught, would still be out on the street with an illegal firearm. Okay? But boy, oh boy, we're going to have new criminal penalties on straw purchases. Now, for you folks
If
that have been at home a lot and not acquainted with the vernacular of the street, a straw purchase is when you go up to Dwayne and say, I'll give you $500 if you can go get me a gun. And Dwayne comes back with the gun and you give him the $500. He acts as a straw. So, how is that going to change the situation? They don't prosecute it now.
that's my next point.
Yeah.
You can put all the laws you want, unless you enforce them and put some teeth in them.
Well, when you enforce them and put teeth in them, like Bartley Fox,
Yeah,
that
that's a good-
mandates
perfect.
1 year in jail for illegally carrying an
weapon, yeah.
unregistered or uninsured or carrying a weapon when you don't have a
It
permit.
wasn't worth this piece of paper that it was
That's
written
right.
on.
They have. I know of one person that's been sent away for it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I had heard none, but you might
Yeah.
be one.
Oh, they did. The first one they arrested, they sent away. But if you're not going to enforce these stupid laws,
You can pass them all
Why
day long,
pass
nothing's going to happen.
okay? And these are not going to get. In Massachusetts, they are not going to get enforced.
No, they won't get enforced here.
This bill gets better, though. Here we get to the good part. More than half of the $15 billion allocated over 10 years would go for mental health services, included allowing more states to test community-based behavioral health centers with round-the-clock emergency psychiatric services. Let's stop right there. We had a system of mental hospitals in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
We shut them down.
Shut them down.
Let's put the people out in the community where they can prosper and grow.
Not only that, Bill, but this situation, just like you defined it, I don't care how much money you spend in these mental health initiatives, you're not going to reach the person that's going to go out and shoot somebody
Bingo.
or shoot people. They don't go to them. They don't go to somebody and say, I am having bad thoughts. I need help. Oh no. They sit in a corner someplace or up in their room fuming and fuming and fuming.
And being consumed inside with
and then all
hatred.
of a sudden they act on it. They're not the kind that go out and seek help. You don't know about these people until they act.
Those girls that wouldn't go out with me on dates,
Yeah, that's
that
right.
wouldn't dance with me if they still have dances, or wouldn't go hang out with me and all that. I'm gonna fix them.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But he
It's
doesn't. He's gonna fix them. But he doesn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the mental health center."
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, those people
and
don't show
talk
up there.
to them there so that they'll ease these thoughts in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get a picture of that happening? It provides grants for school security and violence protection programs. I wonder what that means.
I don't know. But
I know what school security is, and that's armed guards. Oh,
That's
we
right.
don't want that. No, we don't want that. We don't want them to look like prisons.
I think one of our illustrious candidates for governor has spoken out and said that she would not support locked doors at the school with only one entrance that's unguarded by a policeman. She would not support that.
You know, she's going to be a disaster
If she gets elected.
if she gets elected. You know, let's hope that somehow.
Well, I'm not saying which one it is, but I think you can imagine.
Yeah, her name begins with
Well, you know,
H.
it's the same one that says we shouldn't lock anybody up.
Yeah. Same one that doesn't lock anybody
No.
up. Yeah. It also, this is another one too. This is where they really drop the hammer. It also closes the so-called boyfriend loophole,
Yeah, that,
banning dating partners or recent dating partners convicted of domestic violence from purchasing a firearm. Well. I think that's going to cure everything.
it might save something. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of open-ended. It's too loose. It's too
Yeah, I mean,
too
what's a
fluid.
boyfriend?
Yeah,
A guy that said hi to her?
yeah.
I mean,
These things are not tight legislation at all. They're. You see, Bill. This stuff gets on the front burner when something happens, and they think they got to do something now, quickly. But as soon as it calms down, we go 6 months and there's nothing. This just melts away.
well,
The problem just kind of hides away because it's not in the forefront
a
anymore.
perfect example.
Oh.
53 poor souls
Yeah.
died
Yeah.
down in the border in the back of that tractor
Truck-
trailer.
Yeah.
You haven't seen a word in the papers about it
No.
lately, have you?
No.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Our memory of it is gone. When people were outraged for about that long.
About that long.
Yeah. And the same thing with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Look,
we have very short attention spans in this
We
country.
do.
And the media has, it's, our attention span is controlled by the media because if you don't see it every day, you don't think about it.
That's right. Yeah. And that is where newspapers play a big role
Yes, exactly.
instead of little 30-second sound bites on
Yeah.
TV. Really and truly, I don't want any anti-gunners, or actually, I don't want. Let me just amend myself here. Let me just say what I was going to say. This really is about as mild an approach.
They had to get something out
That's
quick
right.
because the attention is up front now.
They had to get something they could get some Republican
Mm-hmm.
votes on, and they probably sold their souls over to some of the Republicans.
Yeah.
Come on, cough up a vote, will you please? I'll do this for you, or I'll do that for you.
We are in such a gridlock. We can't sit down. The two sides can't sit down and say, "Hey, look, guys, we got a real problem here. The hell with Democrat or Republican. We've got to do something. If this irritates your side, so be it. And if this irritates my side, so be it. But we've got to do something. We've got to do it right."
This isn't right.
No, that's not right. That's
I
just,
mean,
that's
it's just
stopgap.
a piece of paper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's appeasement.
Yep. So, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of freedom of religion when the football coach
5. Yep. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Was it
was-
Oklahoma or Kansas or someplace? I don't remember.
is Washington State.
Washington State. Okay. I wasn't even close.
Coach Joseph Kennedy knelt and prayed after the games, thanking God that no one got hurt and they all played well and all that sort of thing. Or whatever he did pray. I don't know. I don't know what was on his mind. I guess something like that. Or before the game, or whatever. And that went on for years upon years upon years upon years until somebody complained.
That's right. That's the key right there.
Yep.
You
So
got
then the
one
school-
squeak that has to change.
The school came to him and said, "Can you lighten up? Can you do it back in the squad room, or they're getting after me, coach." And so that went on for a while, and then the reports that he was praying in the locker room, and they said no more praying. The Supreme Court just threw the damn thing right out. And I'll be willing to bet you there's probably 2 lawyers, one on each side, working out the compensation for all the money this guy has lost for the last 5 or 6 years that he's been unemployed.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, having a prayer. If you don't want to do it, don't do it.
That's
There's no
right.
consequence.
Yeah.
He wasn't out there writing names down. Well, Joe wasn't here,
Yeah.
Pete didn't work. You did it or you didn't do it. And as far as that goes, we have mixed religion and sport since there was religion in sport. You don't watch NASCAR, but if you ever watch a NASCAR race, what do they have in the pre-ceremony? Always a minister or a priest or a rabbi or somebody who gives a benediction or a prayer. Usually it's asking to keep the drivers safe and don't let it rain on us. And
There's one person in the stands get
nobody
hurt by a
complains. No, everybody stands up and puts their
Yeah.
hand on their heart or takes their hat off, and that's it. There's no fuss.
And
with
you
it.
know what? You know what else is cowardly? Is the National Football League.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
their coverage. After the game, the players
lot of
from
'em.
both teams
Go out.
commingle
Yep.
and drop to a knee, the Christians, and pray together.
Yep.
They never show it. Or if they accidentally show it, they immediately
You
pan
take it
away from it.
I give Monica a tough time a lot of times because she's a lot more religious than I am, and we watch his sports. The guy will come to the bat, he gives it like this, and he goes, and he picks up his bat. I says, he's going to hit a home run, has to. God's with him. She said, that's not why.
The Spanish kids are taught that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know.
And to me, that's off base. Don't anybody criticize.
Got it.
That I mean, look, that's their business. We really didn't. Oh yeah, here we. I still got a lot of these things to get to. So, the millionaire's tax is going to be on the ballot.
Yep.
What are our feelings on that?
I don't know. You and I may not agree on that one.
Strangely enough, I think you may be right, but I think you misjudge me.
Okay. Because he is a millionaire, folks. That's why. That's why he does. He's not in favor of it because he's one of the richest guys in town, but he keeps it hidden.
I keep it well hidden. No, believe me, I think that an extra 4% over $1 million.
Chicken feed.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. And in
It
fact,
doesn't hurt anybody and it helps people.
and the wealthy should say, you know what, I've been blessed by this country. This is the most wonderful country on earth. Probably the only place I can do this, make this kind of money. I'll give some back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that do give back
yeah,
a lot of money,
There is, but
including Tom Yawkey from the grave.
that's right.
He has given hundreds of millions of dollars to the city of Boston
I thought
for
that
kids.
that Henry's project there to get the Yawkey Way changed was pretty poor.
Very
Bad,
poor.
bad news.
And it soured me on John Henry
Yep.
permanently.
Because you can look at it two ways. Well, all right, the Yankees owned the team, but the team's name was Red Sox.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Red Sox that were racist, and maybe you should change the name of the Red Sox today.
Maybe back in those days, every single person was racist.
That's right. It was
I
just-
mean, let's get.
but if you want to do something, change the name of the Red Sox.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to have to put a marker here so that we can start in next time we come, because I still got a few more things here.
I lost some of mine. I don't know where. I'm digging here looking for it in this mess.
Oh, and I had a couple of things from today's paper too that drove
Next
me.
time we got
Oh,
Biden actually did something good.
what do you do?
Well, acceptable. His stand on relieving or getting rid of student debt makes sense.
Canceling the interest.
Hmm?
Canceling the interest?
No, the parameters why you should do it
Okay.
or could do it, and I said, this is coming from him.
I'll have to look at it. No, he didn't do it.
No, probably not.
No.
It's not Elizabeth. Elizabeth, Pocahontas, she just wants to give up everybody's debt.
She has really been on.
This was something that I would have done years ago. Like if you went into service, you got a buy on something. If you
Yeah.
you went to work for the VA, if as a nurse or something that they need, you get a buy. That made sense.
By the way, maybe we'll just close with this one. I can't find
Okay.
what I'm looking for. Oh, I know it. The presidential spokesman,
Yeah,
the lady,
yeah.
she's being phased out.
Is she?
Yeah, she didn't. She blamed Biden for too much, or backtracked on him, or corrected him too often. So
Well,
she's gone. She'll be there a little bit longer, but the shuffling chairs.
Yeah. Well,
around.
in that position, you best be totally dedicated to your boss.
By the way, did you happen to notice our president? You arrest people for a felony. I don't consider drunken driving a felony.
No, I didn't hear that, but he's full. He's all full of it. He doesn't.
So he was talking about drunken driving, and I
Yeah.
believe it was sort of connected with Peter Pelosi.
Oh, that's right. He got nailed.
Yeah, he got nailed for it. But he does not consider drunken driving a felony.
No.
How many people die every
Yeah, that's
year?
right.
It's not a felony.
Well, technically, it's not till it is.
Yeah. And then it is.
Then it is. Yep.
Well, folks, it has been a pleasure to come into your living rooms, or bathrooms, if that's where you keep the TV or whatever.
Each to his own.
Yeah, into your happy homes. And we look forward to coming and visiting you again next week or the week after.